Guys, in the previous class, we have seen various kind of AWT components, right? So, what are the various kind of AWT components are there? Can you give some of the components? So, we can give as label, text area, text field, etc. These are the various kind of AWT components that we have seen in the previous class. And also, we have seen various kind of layout mechanisms, right? So these layout mechanisms are meant for to arrange the data in the user interface, right? We can say to arrange data in the container, we can go for various kind of layout mechanisms, right? So if you want to have more look and feel, we'll go with the layout mechanism. Something like grid layout is there, grid back layout is there, flow layout is there, border layout, all those things we have seen in the last class, right? Fine. So what is the main advantage of moving for AWT? What is the main advantage of moving for AWT concept? Which used for to create any kind of GUI application, right? But there is some kind of drawback is there in AWT. The drawback is whatever the classes that they defined, all those classes are going to be operating system dependency. Operating system dependent means if you are going to execute the respective code what you have written, that code look and feel is going to vary from operating system to operating system. Something like if you take Mac, if you are going to execute your code in the Mac operating system, you are going to get one look and feel. If you are going to execute the same thing in Windows operating system, it may vary its look and feel. This is one of the main drawback of AWT. That is the reason we are moving for another concept called swings, right? So the main advantage of moving for the swings concept is the components are going to be operating system independent. Operating system independent, which means that if you look into the differences between the AWT and the swing, right? There are few differences that we can able to observe, right? Which all the kind of classes and the interfaces are provided in a package called AWT package, which is sub package of Java package. Am I right or not? Yes. Coming to swings, they have given a swing package which is a part of Java X package. This is the difference between one kind of a different simple difference between AWT and swings, right? So you know they have given various kind of class and interfaces in AWT package, and for swings they have given the form of Java X, and the sub package name is swing package, right? So these kind of classes which are given in the AWT package are OS dependent, which means that what we can say that they are we can say as heavyweight components. So all kind of AWT components we can call it as heavyweight components. The reason why they are calling it as heavyweight components is because whatever the class that they defined, all those classes will contain the code in the form of native language format. What is the meaning of native language format? If I am going to implement any kind of GUI application in Windows operating system, that respect to operating system language code I am trying to use in order to implement GUI application. That's why I am going to call them as heavyweight components, right? So coming to here, the swings are going to be purely OS independent. It is because of they have purely implemented the classes and interfaces in the form of Java language, not in the native operating system language, right? As because of they implement in the form of Java language, we can call them as lightweight components. Lightweight component, right? So why they are calling simply as lightweight components? Because each and every class and interface is implemented in Java language, right? And what about the look and feel? Which is having the more look and feel? So swings are going to have more look and feel. We can say it as more pluggable look and feel. Pluggable look and feel, which is not having pluggable look and feel. What is the meaning of a plug? Which we can easily take out and which we can easily put, right? So we can call it as pluggable or plug, right? So basically, when you are going to implement any kind of a GUI application with the concept of swings, we are going to get certain kind of an interface. We are going to have certain kind of interface. So if that interface, if you would like to modify its look and feel, I can able to easily modify it by using 1 or 2 lines of code. That is the meaning of pluggable look and feel, right? By using simple modification of 1 or 2 lines of code, I can able to modify the complete look and feel of the GUI application. Whereas coming to here, if you would like to modify the look and feel of the application, you have to write some lot of lines of code. Means how we are going to implement within one or 2 lines of code, because they are given in the form of various kind of classes again, right? Something like if you would like to get a kind of GUI component as Windows operating system kind of look, then we have a class called Windows look and feel class. Windows look and feel class. And there is another kind of class called Windows classy look and feel class. So hope you understood how we are going to get the class name. In and we have A capital, and in feel we have F capital. All those things you have to know, right? And something like you can go with some other kind of look and feels are there. Something like motive look and feel is there. Like that we are going to have various kind of predefined class are there. With the help of various kind of predefined classes, I can able to easily move from one kind of look and feel to another kind of look and feel. Is it okay? Yes. Right. So any other differences that you can able to understood? Which is having more number of components? Is AWT or swings? Which is the later version of GUI implementation? Swings, right? Obviously, the versions which are coming later part having the heavy, like we can say as more number of components, right? So in AWT, we are going to have less number of components compared to swings. Whereas coming to here we are going to have more number of components. And if you are able to observe one more difference, the difference is general difference which you can understood. All kind of classes are going to be represented in the form of normal class names. Whereas coming to swings, every class or an interface is going to prefix with the capital J. That is the difference you can able, right? We can able to simply visually understood which is a kind of a swing class. If it is going to prefix with J, I can definitely call it will becomes under swings. Otherwise, it is going to becomes under AWT package, right? These are the some of the differences that you can understood between AWT and swings. So, if you are going to look into this differentiation, which is the better one, then swings are better compared to AWT, because once we implemented a code in particular operating system, the same code will provide the same look and feel in all kind of operating systems. But if you go with AWT, which may produce various kind of results, so what you have to do before releasing the application, you have to thoroughly test in the all kind of applications, all kind of operating system, right? That's the reason always recommend to go for implementing any kind of application in swings, right? So we have gone through the hierarchy of AWT components. Am I right or not? We have seen, right? So object is the superclass for all class in Java language. Then we have a component is one kind of a class, and then we have one more component called menu component. Have you remember? And if you look into menu component, we are going to have various kind of components again. One is button, another is label, another is text area, text field, and container is one kind of a class is there. Container is one kind of class is there, right? Etc. We have seen various kind of components. And related to menu components, we have gone through menu, menu item, checked menu item, all those things we have seen, right? So similarly, if you look into here, this is a kind of hierarchy related to swing sum, related to swing, right? So what you can able to observe, which is going to have more number of components compared to AWT hierarchy, and if you are able to observe, each and every class is going to prefix with what? J, definitely. Right? So everything is going to be fixed with J, and we are going to have more number of components compared to AWT. And if you are able to observe, we have discussed the concept of how to implement radio buttons in AWT. Is there any radio button classes there in AWT? No, there is no radio button class, but this we can able to achieve it through a class called checkbox group. Very good. Checkbox group, we are going to create the object, and each and every label you are going to get it through the concept of checkbox. This is the difference you can able to observe. Coming to here, we have J radio button is there. Where is that? Right? So J radio button class is there. But in AWT we don't have radio button class. Right? So here also we need to make certain kind of modify, even though we are going to have J radio button. But I am specifically saying that J radio button is there. And you can able to observe one more thing. JComboBox is there. JComboBox is there. What is the meaning of combo box? We are going to have a kind of a drop down list. Among the list of values, we can able to select only one value. That we are going to implement in what kind of procedure, what kind of component there? Choice. Good, right? Choice is a kind of a class which we do for to create drop down list. Here we are using JComboBox, which we do for to create a drop down list. Among those list of values, I can able to select only one value. This is one more difference what you can observe according to what we discussed from with respect to the AWT. And there is a list concept is there, which you for to select multiple values from the multiple values. Here we are going to have JList, which you for to select multiple values from the multiple values. Right? So these are the some of the differences that you can observe between AWT hierarchy and swing hierarchy. And we are going to have many other things are there which you can able to understand directly. Right? So now what we can do now, we'll go with the execution part, like how we are going to add components, right? So first we are going to have a container. We are going to create a container. Am I right? Create a container. That container can be anything, which can be, I am supposed to assume it as a frame. How we are going to create the frame container? We can extend the frame class, or we can instantiate the frame class. These are the two ways you can able to create the container. Once we create the container, is it going to be displayed to the end user? No, we have to make it visible by using a method called setVisible method, which you know that in AWT setVisible of true, and then we have to make it set size of height comma width. You have to pass width comma height, not height comma width. Width comma height you have to pass. So like that we can able to use various kind of things, whatever things that you require, right? So once we created a container, then you need to add various kind of components here. For adding various kind of components, what I have defined there in the last class, we need to create component first. So every component is available in the form of a class. So label L equal to new label of, you can able to pass the name itself here, or you can go with other way, something like enter name. So I have created the label by simply creating the object for the particular component. Is it going to be added into the container? No. We have a method called add method, which is available in a component class. So that I am going to use here, so that this particular component is going to be added inside the container. Like that you can able to work with every kind of component. The same procedure also here we are trying to work. what is the difference between these two? We need to extend the frame, but what kind of frame we are trying to extend? J frame. We are trying to instantiate the J frame, and all the methods are supposed to be same. What about the label? JLabel, new JLabel. That's it. All the remaining things are going to be same. Pure. Right? So let us try to execute one by one. So if I are going to look here, I am going to click on new, click on class. So the class name is JComponent example. Right? So this is the main class where I am trying to start its execution. So I am going to have a main method. Then I am trying to create one new class. This class represents creating the container first, GUI component, right? So class Swing component example. I am trying to make extends JFrame. I am trying to extend JFrame, right? So guys, it is showing an error. From which location you need to import? Java X dot Swing, right? So it will be added at the third line. You can able to understand? Third line, right? So then I can able to. So this is what extending the JFrame class. You can go with alternative way also. One is instantiating the JFrame class, right? So once you go with this kind of procedure, can I call the visible method, all those things while creating the object itself? Yes. So I can go with Swing component constructor. Inside the constructor, I can call set visible method, set visible of. I am trying to call it as a true, and I am going to make set size of width comma height. So something like 600 by 600. And if you want to make it its title, I can go with set title of Swing components example. Swing component, right? So with this, are you going to get the output? Right? So this particular constructor need to be executed. To make it executing, we need to create the object for this. Very good. New, s equal to, good, that's it, right? If I are going to execute it, this will be executed. Swing, so title you got, and it is kind of a frame, you got everything. So right? If you are going to observe clearly, I am going to click on close operation. If you go with AWT, it won't close, right? But when you go with the swings, it is going to be closed. But if you go with the running part of the program, how about the running of the program? Is it running or is it stopped? It is running, right? So it is not the correct process, right? So what you can do now, whenever you are trying to perform the close operation, in AWT what you have to do? You have to call specifically window listener, and you have to override the method, specific window closing method, all those things, right? So here we have a method called set default close operation method is there, right? So which is contains a method called a constant called exit on close constraint, which is defined inside the JFrame class as static. So how I am going to call this constraint? JFrame dot exit on close, right? Simply by using this single line of code, I can able to exit from the program. It is done. If I close it, the program is going to be terminated. That is the advantage of this single line of code, right? So this is common for every program, right? So once we created a frame, means once we created a container, what is the next step you have to do? For example, I want to add a kind of requirement as something like this. I have a frame, I need to enter certain kind of a name that will be entered by the user. If I click on submit, that should be displayed here. This is my entire requirement, right? So hope you understood this one, right? So then what we can do here, name is a kind of a label. This is what text field. This is a kind of button, and it is kind of again a label, right? So we'll try to make it executing. So how we are going to create the label? By using JLabel L1 equal to new JLabel of enter name. JLabel of enter name. Then once we created the component, is it going to be added to the container? No, right? If you would like to add it to the container, we have to make it add method. Add of L1. Add of L1, right? So it is going to be added to the container. Then I need to create one more text field. Is it okay? How we are going to create JTextField is there. So what is the difference between text field and text area? Single row, and which is going to be another one is multiple row, and many differences are there. This is the main difference. Equal to new JTextField of how many number of columns I want to display. 25 number of characters I can able to write in a single row, right? Then I am going to make it add of P1, right? If I execute it, are you going to get the output? Yes or no? Here you got enter name. What about the text field? What is the text field? Right? This entire thing is going to be text field. If you are able to clearly understood. If you have executed the earlier class, this entire text is going to be a text field. What happened here? They are placing one by one. They are placing one by one means by default swing components are going to be placed in the form of card layout mechanism, right? So in the last class we have seen something like flow layout, border layout, all those things, right? That is separate. So where window and frame are going to follow border layout, panel and dialog are going to follow flow layout, right? But coming to swings, it is going to follow card layout mechanism. Card layout means if you take the deck of cards, how they are going to place? Even though we are going to have 51 cards, 52 cards, right? 52 or 51? 52 cards are there. If they are going to place one by one, you will look like only one card, right? That is what happening here, right? Even though we are going to have two components like a label like enter name, on behalf of it, you are going to have a kind of text field. This is what card layout, right? So if you want to make it more look and feel, what you have to do? You have to make it adjacent to the side by side, or you can go with some kind of grid layout also, right? So here now what I am trying to do now, I am trying to use some kind of flow layout mechanism. Some kind of flow layout mechanism, right? So if you want to use any kind of layout mechanism, what is the method you have to use? Set layout, and you have to follow the object for the respective layout mechanism, right? So set layout of new flow layout. New flow layout. If I am going to execute now, if you are able to observe, enter name followed by text field. And here you can able to enter any data, right? So now I want to create next what? A kind of button, JButton. JButton B1 equal to new JButton of something, button name is something like submit. Then I have to add it to the container, add of B1, button B1, right? After that again I have to go with one more label. What is the need of this? If you want to display some data in particular location, I would like to override the respective value, right? So this is going to be L2 and this will be L2, right? If I am going to use it, you can have a enter name thing, submit button. Here you are not displaying anything. So for example, I can make something like this. Result displayed here. Right? So result displayed here, right? Now the point is when user is going to click on submit button, submit is a kind of active component, right? So when user is performing certain kind of activity, what you have to do? You have to make it certain kind of action, right? For making certain kind of actions, you have to follow event handling approach, right? So which you know it already again. What is the meaning of event handling? You have to identify various kind of activities that are done by the user and a particular component, and you have to override all those methods, right? So here I am trying to work with what kind of component? Button component. For button component, what is the method is available for us? Action performed is there, which is taking action event class as an object, and this action performed is an event is a kind of method available which interface? Action listener, right? So then you can able to override this one so that it can able to work accordingly, right? In the last class we have seen the event handling in AWT. The same procedure is going to work for AWT swings also, right? So here what I am trying to do now, here itself I am trying to implements action listener, right? And it is throwing an error. Why it is throwing an error? Because listener is a kind of interface which contains unimplemented methods. You have to compulsory override. So source go with override or implemented methods, right? If you go with action listener, action performed is a method that I have to definitely override. Public void action performed, right? So here you have to override something. If you mention sysout of button clicked, right, means when the user is performing, right, we have written a component here, button component, we have written certain logic according to the activity, and then how we are going to communicate these two? By making use of registering the component. How we are going to make the registering the component? By using add XXX listeners. This is what we have seen in AWT, right? So what we can do now? We can go with, so through which one we have to add? B1 dot add action listener. Add action listener of current class. Action listener of this, right? Now if you are going to observe, if I am going to execute it, if I click on submit button, check on the console, something is going to be displayed, right? Button click, right? How many times you are going to click on the button? That many number of times it is going to display, right? In the same location, can I modify something? What is that? We have to get the data what is entered by the user in the corresponding text field, right? Can we get the text what is available in the text field? We have a method called get text method is there, right? So we can able to call that one, right? Which is available in an object called T1. But can I get this T1 here? No, it couldn't possible, right? So what I can do now, I can increase the scope of this one. Is it okay? JLabel L1 JButton B1 JLabel L2, right? Just to make it available the variables to the outside of other method also I am trying to declare outside, right? So now can I get T1 value? Yes or no? T1 dot get text method is there. Get text method is there. I am getting that I can able to use string name equal T1 dot text. Right now this text I have to display in which location? In the result displayed here. In the result displayed, right? So what you can do? Which is what label? L2. L2 dot set text of your name is plus, that's it, right? If I am going to execute it, something like Jaya, click on submit, your name is Jaya. Is it okay? If I say CSC, click submit, your name is CSC. Like that, we can able to implement any kind of GUI application. Like for example, I want to perform some kind of gender operation, right? So to perform the gender operation, what you can do? choice is one kind of thing, good. Choice is also one option, right? So for that we can go with the JComboBox in Swings, right? Choice is also the same purpose. If you want to select one value from out of multiple values, I can go with choice. So but I will go with radio button, J radio button, R1 equal to new J radio button of mail, right? So here, hope you understood why I am taking outside. This is going to be R1 and I will go with once again R2 female, this is going to be R2, right? So once we created the radio buttons, what you have to do? You have to add it, right? So add of R1, add of R2. So I have created two radio buttons. Now if you are going to execute it, if I select male, if I select female, both are selected or not, but it is not actually getting the property, right? To get the actual property, that is what I said. Even you are trying to use the JRadio button class, you won't get the actual property. For that we can do something like a button group class is there. Button group class is there, which is used for to group the related radio buttons. Button group bg equal to new button group, and then bg dot add of R1, bg dot add of R2. Now if you are going to execute it, right, what is the alternative for this one? Generally, if you go with AWT, checkbox group, right? Checkbox group ch equal to new checkbox group, like that you have to write all this, right? After that, so I will go with checkbox group, right? Then checkbox c1 equal to new checkbox of ch comma, what is statement you have to follow? Male comma true comma, in which group you are trying to add, right? Like that you have to go with the syntax. So for female you have to go with another thing, right? This is the thing you are going to follow in AWT. If you like to go with Swings, you have to go with this procedure. Button group is there, which you would for to create it. If you go with male, one selected, and female, so out of these two, only one is going to be selected, right? So button group you have to use in order to create the radio buttons here also, right? Now, once the user is selected, all kind of things, try to observe here, enter name, followed by they will select the gender. Based on that, if user clicks submit button, you have to display as Mr. Jaya. If they entered something like hello, Mr's hello, something like you have to display based on that, right? So for that, what we can do? So I think radio buttons needs to be appeared which location? After submit button, right? Can I change this order only? Just I change the adding order. If I change the adding order, you are going to get like this. Radio buttons, then okay, fine. So I think I need to change the label. Label should be after. T1 should be as usual, I think. First T1 and button should be after radio buttons. Is it okay now? So name, text field, gender, submit button, result is going to be displayed here, right? So now, you know already you are getting this data. Then in addition to that, what you have to do? You have to get their gender. How are you going to get their gender? Based on the R1 object and R2 object, right? So we can use something like if R1 dot is selected, is there? if r1 dot is selected, and means if r1 is selected, you have to go with some kind of case, right? What is that case? For example, I can mention something like dot set text of your name is, I can say as Mr. dot name. R1 is something like male, right? Else L2 dot set text of your name is Mr.'s plus name. You can able to execute this one. Something like, I don't know this name, Kalpana. If I select female and click submit, your name is Mr. Kalpana. If I mention something like Krishna and selecting the male, that will be your name is Mr. Krishna. Based on that, you can go with. This is the way you can able to go with the radio button. Similarly, you can go with the checkbox, right? So here, what is the thing that you have to use in order to create a checkboxes? JComboBox. JComboBox, something like JC equal to new checkbox, and then you have to go with the respective values. So for the coming class, what you can do now, for the same code, you need to select, you need to get the inputs, in the form of checkbox along with various kind of interested subjects. Various kind of interested subject, take at least 3 and try to display them. Your interested subjects are one by one with separate up, right? If they selected only one, you have to display that one. If they selected 3, you have to display those 3, right? So for checkbox, what is the listener you have to use? For checkbox, they come up with separate thing. Item listener is there, that you have to follow. For checkbox, item listener. For Windows, window listener. I mean add item listener, add window listener, like that you have to follow, right? Okay, fine. Similarly, can we go with JComboBox? What is the purpose of JComboBox? Which is used for to select list of values from the single value from the list of values. JComboBox, right? So hope you know this meaning, why I am adding the top. JComboBox JC. Okay, so with this, basically if you go with choice, we can able to add the items. Add method is there, remove method is there, get item method is there. If you go with list, we are going to add, remove, get items method is there. Similarly here, if you want to add, we are going to have same thing. Add item method is there, add item of, I can go with the CSC. JC dot add item of EC. Similarly, JC dot add item of mechanical. Once we add it, I can go with at the end, before the button, I can say add of JC. Add of JC, right? Once we selected that, at the end what you have to do, once the user clicks on submit button, again you have to get that data. So can we get it? Right? So what we can do now, with the help of that object, JC object, JC dot get, what we can do? Can we have get item is there, add item, get item count is there. Get item, what is the use of get item count? So how many items are there in the respective combo box? Similarly, get selected item is there. There is an option, get selected item, right? So I can go with this one, get selected item. I will try to simply print in sysout mode, right? You can able to implement it in real time, however you want to use, you can use. Sysout of, I can make use of your selected branches, right? Then is it going to work? why it is throwing errors? Let me check. It is kind of warnings, no problem. So here Jaya mail branch is ECE. If I click submit button, your name is Mr. Jaya. If you go with here, your selected branch is ECE, right? Like that you can able to go work with this one. Okay, now is it okay for everyone? Yes. So now my requirement is, if you go with here execution part, this execution part, here at the top left corner you are going to view some kind of symbol. Technically we call it as an icon. Technically we call it as an icon. So if you want to modify that icon, you can able to modify it. You can able to modify it by using a class called image icon class. Image icon is a predefined class which is used for to add the new logo to the corresponding GUI application, right? So through this class I can able to pass the constructor while creating the object what kind of image you want to add. What kind of image you want to add, I can able to pass. Then using a method called set icon image. Set icon image, I can able to add the image to the corresponding GUI application. So what I can do now, I will try to add it. So you can simply use image icon class which is available in Swing package. Image icon, I will say I equal to new image icon which is accepting the image location, right? So for example, if I say execution folder, in the execution folder there is a folder called first.png. Some image is there. I will try to place as first.png, right, which is used for to read the corresponding image what you want to add. And then I can able to set it by using set icon image. Set icon image, I can just use here I dot that image what I would like to add. I dot get image. That's it. Which is used for to add icons to the GUI application. Right? If you are going to execute this one, you can able to observe something is going to be different with the earlier image, right? So this is what this is the way you can able to add icons to the GUI application. Okay, now fine. So I want to add more extra things to here. So instead of this enter name, I am asking the user to enter number. I am asking to the user to enter number, right? Before that, I will tell what I am trying to do. I am trying to create the same GUI application. Here I am asking the user to enter a number, followed by text field, and when the user clicks submit button, that I need to display it here. Right? Earlier what I did, enter name, displaying here. Now enter a number, that should be displayed here. That's what I would like to do, right? So for that, I think you no need of all these things. Radio button is not necessary. Button group, checkboxes, all these are not necessary for you. Is it okay? Button we required and label you need to require. So enter number, is it okay? Text field user is trying to enter, and I am trying to get the text that is going to be displayed to the end user. L2 dot get text of your or else I am trying to simply display number, NUM, I can make it as num, right? So you can just execute this one. Enter number 25. If you click submit, 25 is going to be displayed here. If I click something like 100 is going to be displayed here. Is it okay? Yes. my requirement is I want to add two numbers. I want to add two numbers, right? So if I want to add two numbers, how many text fields are required? Two text fields. So this will be something like T2, and it is going to be a kind of T2, and for T2 I need to have one more text field. We can say it as T2. Two text fields you got, and I am trying to perform addition operation. Instead of submit button, I will go with the add. I'll go with add operation, right? When the user is going to click on add operation, what you have to do? You have to make them adding both numbers. How we are going to add it? T1.getText we are going to get one number, and for T2.getText we are going to get one more number. This is number 1, and this is going to be a number 2. L2.text equal to, I can make use of int num1 plus num2, right? I am writing the code somewhat here, mistake only. Hope you understood why I am writing. So getText is going to return the string value. So you need to convert it into what value? Integer value, right? So for that, what we can do? Integer dot parse int of t1 dot getText. Right? Which is going to return what type? Integer type, right? So similarly, I can go with this same line of code. This is going to be T2, and which should be so num1 plus num2, right? So which is used for to convert string into a number. Now, while adding the text to the output, again it is expecting what data? String data. Then what we can do? We need to convert this num into. Can I go with string class? String dot value of is there. Value of num. String dot value of num is there. Then if I am going to save it and trying to execute, 25 and 35. If I press add, result is going to be, sorry, I have entered both 25 and 25, which is going to 50. 25 and 35, you are going to get the result as 60. Like this, you are going to perform addition operation. Addition operation, right? So instead of doing like this, can I go with another way? I can go with many ways, right? So I think this is going to be kind of lengthy. Instead, can I just append? Can I get some? Just append the string, which will be acting as a kind of string, right? Then it will be executed. (15, 16), result is going to be 31, right? Fine. So I need to make it more modification to this one. So now, instead of having the single button like addition operation, I want to go with the subtraction operation. I want to go with subtraction, right? B1, instead of B1, I will go with B2. That B2 I am going to add here. Add of B2. And I would like to add the button B2. Button B2, right? So now we have created the components. So for the button B1, we have already created the action performed. What about the B2? Again, you have to call the action performed only, right? For calling the action performed, what you have to do? You have to make it register again. B2 dot add action listener of again this, right? Now what will happen here? Cursor will comes to here. For subtraction also, you are going to get the result as num1 plus num2 only. For addition also, you are going to get the value as num1 plus num2 only, right? I don't want like that. I want to have different operations for both operations. Then can we differentiate what object we are getting to the action performed method? What event we are going to get, right? So simply we can go with if loop. If e dot, we have a method called get source method is there. Means from which source I am getting object, right? get source. If it is going to get as B, what is the meaning of this one? B1, right? The source object is B1. Then I can go for addition. Else I'll go with num equal to num1 minus num. Right? Then I will go with this. Is it okay? For B1 I will go with addition, and for B2 I will go with subtraction. I'll simply execute this one. 25, 4. What is the value? If you click on sub, you will get 21. 21. Here if you get 41, if you add it, you will get 66. Right? So like this you can able to work with the buttons. Okay now? And then things are there. I think checkboxes you can cover. I need to cover mouse operations. Right? So for mouse operations, have you understood the center concept so far? Right? So which is the same as like as AWT. And if you are able to understood this concept, which is same as like this one, to implement AWT concepts also. Right? Fine. So we'll try to explain the one more example which will lead to mouse events. So the class name is JMouse example. I am trying to have main method which is for to start your execution, and class J, let me call it as swing mouse, swing house, and I am going to go with the constructor. Inside the constructor I am trying to go with the JFrame. So earlier I have shown with the extension, right? Now I am trying to go with the instantiation. J equal to new JFrame of JFrame with the mouse events. And then I need to set various kind of things. Am I right or not? What are those things? I have to set the visibility, set the size, set title, set layout mechanism, and the set default close operation. All these things definitely have to have for all kind of things. Am I right? So and then I have to call with respect to J dot set visibility, J dot set size, J dot set title, J dot set layout, J dot default close operation, and then I have to call J swing mouse operations, J1 equal to new J swing mouse operations. If I am going to execute it, you will get simply swing components. With this I can done this. Right? Now my requirement is I want to move the cursor. While moving the cursor, I have to identify its coordinates. And I need to display them. Right? To make noting of the data to the user. What is the solution we can able to go with? Can I have a label? JLabel L1 equal to new JLabel of some coordinates I am trying to display here, and then I am going to add J dot add of L1. J dot add of L1. Is it okay? Some container I did. Now what I am trying to do? I am trying to work certain kind of mouse move operations over the container. Right? If you want to work with mouse operations, what you have to do? You have to identify various kind of mouse related activities. What are those various kind of mouse related activities? Mouse clicked, mouse pressed, mouse released, all those things. I want to maintain only, not, I don't want to think about all kind of, I think 5 methods are there. Mouse clicked, mouse released, mouse pressed, mouse entered, mouse exited. Hope you know all these differences which I have covered in AWT, right? Again, so I want to maintain only, for example, mouse pressed. Mouse pressed. Actually, these all the methods are available. Which listener? Mouse listener. Mouse listener, right? If I want to implement all these methods, I can go with these all the methods. I don't want all this. I want to go with only mouse pressed. Then what we can do? Can I go with mouse listener? We can go, but it is not the correct way. So for that, what is the alternative solution? Adapter classes. What is that? Mouse adapter. Mouse adapter. Mouse adapter is a kind of class, right? It is going to be a kind of class. So I can go with extending the class. I can go with extend the class. So extends mouse adapter. Extends mouse adapter. So right. So as it is a kind of a class, you are not going to get an error. If you are going to implement with mouse listener, you are going to get errors, right? So here, if you are going to observe, I am trying to go for source, trying to generate or override the methods. See, observe, mouse clicked, mouse dragged, mouse entered, mouse exited, mouse moved, mouse pressed, mouse released, mouse wheel moved, like that. Various kind of things are there. Out of those, what is the thing that you need to override? You need to go with only, as per discussion, we need to go with only mouse pressed. Click OK. Overridden. Right? So now, here what values you need to display? Coordinate values. First, I will go with JLabel L1. Coordinate values. So actually, if you have a method, e dot get x method is there, which you for to get x coordinates. To get x coordinates, int x equal to e dot get x, int y equal to e dot get y coordinates. Get y coordinates, and all these coordinates I need to add it to the one location of the GUI application. So what we can do? Can I go with some kind of string? Something like string result equal to x plus y comma y. Is it okay? String result equal to r plus comma y. Now I am going to set it to the L1 dot set text of r. Set text of, right? So means after pressing the mouse, what need to be done? We have defined here. And we have defined already component here, container. But is there any communication between these two? Right? So for that, what you have to do? J dot add mouse listener. Add mouse listener of this. That's it, right? So if you are going to execute this one, right? So you can observe the top 990, 280. If you click here, 123, 115. If you click here, almost shortest value 10, 34. If you move on correct place, something 0, 0 also you will get. If you place the correct value, right? Right now it is going to be 8, 33. If you click here, I think it will be around 1864, 1041, like that. So here, when I am clicking on the mouse, I am trying to call some operation. If I release it, it will call some operation, right? So like that, you can able to modify various kind of methods which are available for us. So here, as part of the mouse adapter, I made use of one method. We can call it as adapter classes. Okay, now. So I think these are the some of the classes that we can learn here as part of our academics. Okay, fine. So if you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, we can wind up the class.